Hey folks, welcome back to the channel where it's all about racing. Today we're going to take a look at a 143 scale TSM BMW M4 GT3, that of Team RLL, as competed in the IMSA WeatherTech series. Now the BMW GT3 is a race car version of the BMW M4, homologated under the FIA Group GT3 category and enabled to compete in the SRO, IMSA, and ADAC competition. It's intended to be the successor of the BMW M6, and starting in the 2022 season. Now, this particular version is of that 2022 car that competed in the 24 Hours of Daytona in 2022. And folks, I have a number of pictures of this car as I was at that race, and I got to tell you, it's a really good replica of that particular vehicle. Now, while I think the BMW M6 looked better than this particular car features widened fenders, bodywork, more angular styling. That's probably what I don't like about it. And an exhaust just after the passenger side front wheel. And if I turn this thing around, which I will do, you can see that exhaust port right there. And they actually do a very good job of replicating this. The entire exhaust can actually be seen in this little, I guess you could call it an alcove here. But you can see a little bit of it. You see the little tiny dots in there. It also looks a lot like the Mercedes exhaust that you see on their cars, even though theirs goes down the entire side of the car, and comes out here. This particular one goes from here to here. It's really fascinating to look at particularly when they have the hood off and you can see how the whole thing lays out. It's really pretty cool. Now, BMW Team RL, which stands for Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan Racing, is an American race team based out of Zionsville, Indiana, and Hilliard, Ohio. It is owned by 1986 Indy 500 winner Bobby Rahal and former talk show host David Letterman and businessman Mike Lanigan. The team fields cars in the IndyCar Series and the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. There are a lot of things that I really like about these TSM models. One thing I don't like is the fact you don't have the names of the drivers anywhere on the base. For example, what you would have if you had a Spark car. I do like the bases. They're gorgeous. They're this creamy white. It's got almost this marble-like finish, and it is very soft to the touch underneath. It's got a felt backing. Removing these cars from the base is very destructive. It is hard. It's not so hard to get it off, but it's hard to put it back on, which is the reason I never do it. And I really screwed up one of my Corvettes trying to do exactly that. Now, the drivers of this particular car that competed in 24 Hours of Daytona in 2022 were BMW work drivers Jesse Krohn from Finland, an FIA Gold driver, Augustus Farfus from Brazil, FIA Platinum, Connor D. Felipe, USA, FIA Gold, and John Edwards, FIA Platinum. In this particular race, 35 cars would compete in the GTD and GTD Pro categories, and the number 25 car would finish 30th overall and 7th in class. Not a particularly good showing, but I guess not too bad for a brand new car. Now, many of you own TSM models, and you know that they come in these rather large outer open-sleeved boxes. They have an insert. Sometimes it says IMSA on the inside. In this case, it's just TSM model in there. And you can actually pull that out and put signatures on it. It's better than having that signature both your car or your jewel case. It's visible from both sides, and the back of it generally looks like so. So, what do I like about this car, and what does TSM do really well? Well, I think their bases look spectacular, and the car looks very, very good on them. Like Spark, the attention to detail and the finish is generally quite exceptional. Decaling is perfect. I do have a BMW M6, again, a Team RLL car that I have reviewed previously that had Jesse Krohn's name spelled improperly on it. And one of my friends, Dark Knights from England, told me that his car too had the same thing. That is not the case with this particular one. Yes, they did get his name spelled right and everybody else's on it. The interior of the car is really quite exceptional. It's very, very hard to see from this angle because the glass is shaded, but it's very, very sharp. Details are exceptional. I particularly like the attention they did to the leader light, which is located right here. This is typical of IMSA WeatherTech cars. And for those of you familiar with the series, you do know that this was a GTD Pro category, which you can see by that thing there. and thus the number plate is always going to have a red background. You're going to have red mirrors, red end caps on the window banner, and red on the end caps of the rear wing. This is required by IMSA. So, and it just happens to go nicely with this car as it is black, white, and red. Wheel detail is really very, very good. Even though you got black wheels, you can clearly see the silver slotted rotors behind it, as well as the brake calipers. Take a look at the top of the car. You've got a number of aerials, 2 of them. You've got the camera hub really here, and they did a nice job of showing the decals that you would see it if you were, on the television, using that particular camera hub. Another nice touch, I think, that they have done. You have tear-off sheets, where you can see where they strip them off here under the windshield banner, which is nicely done. Again, if you take a look from here into the interior of the car, you can see a little bit of it. And TSM does a really good job of that. The BMW is really quite unique. Being a front-engine car, it has a number of radiators, and I'm going to try to show them as best I can, that are visible from the slots in the hood. And it's a lot like the Aston Martin. The Aston Martin looks an awful lot like it, done very, very similarly. I'm trying to show it as best I can. It's kind of hard to see from here. Sorry about that, guys. That's tricky. They do have open fender wells here, and they really did a nice job of having perforated structure here, but it's not open like it should be, and I think that's one thing that they could do a little bit better. They do have the emergency little tabs here that you have on the windshield, and as I turn the car around to the front, they've done a really nice job replicating the front splitter with the carbon fiber finish. The grille looks really, really good. You can see BMW M4 inside of it. One thing that they did do that doesn't look really good is, the fog lights look sharp. The headlights look almost black. The lens should be yellow. That is also mandated by IMSA, particularly for endurance races, where you want to try to tell the colors of the headlights from the cars coming behind you. But the base does look good, again, with all the information that you have on the front of it. And I think TSM does a really good job of that. Now, we talked about the exhaust on the passenger side. You have seen that. Again, looking at it from this angle, you can see a little bit more into the interior of the car, which is really quite sharp. Again, you have the leader light on the passenger side as well. You can see there. And here's a cool look at the back of the car. They did a nice job with the carbon fiber diffuser. You can see the tow hook are out there. The hatches are really well done on this particular car. I like the BMW logo, the Slazenger decal there. And then you have a look at the rear wing here. And again, if you take a look from here, you can see the interior of the car, some of the structure of that a little bit. You've got nice venting along the sides of that window. Again, a sharp look at the aerials. Very, 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 very nicely done. Now, to point out any downsides of this are getting really, really particular. One of them might be not having the fender wells perforated, as I had mentioned before. Another thing that I can tell from the pictures that I have, the camera hub on the real car is actually colored silver, and here it's just plain white. But that's one of the inaccuracies that they have with it. And I'm not really a nitpicky guy about inaccuracies, as long as they have the structure there that is relevant to the car. Also, you have the 24 hours of Daytona decals on here, which you're going to see on all these cars. And overall, the finish is just exceptional. I found no decal displacements or ripples in any of them. The paint looks good. There are no chips. And the base, as well as the box, are clean and really nicely done. Folks, that wraps it up. I know this is a long one. Hope you've enjoyed it. See you next time. Take care.